Hello everyone, this is a video response to Brittany Simon. Her video is in fact a semi-response, not really directed to any particular video, but a semi-response to feminist frequency's approach to patriarchy and sexism in society. Because of her video, I got to think about a bunch of stuff that's been sort of resting on the edge of my consciousness, something that I wanted to deal with for a little while now and something that I'm not really dealing with particularly. A few days ago, I saw a video on YouTube of these 4 boys being brutally murdered by a whole community. Some will call it jungle justice. That's what it's normally called. And this happened in Nigeria. Though I don't think any of you are interested in watching the video, and I truly advise not to. And matter of fact, I'm not gonna post it on here because the video is really graphic. So the community assumed that the boys were going to steal from them and murdered the boys. It was unjust. Long story short, for days this has been scarring me. I feel like I see ghosts everywhere, and ghosts of those dead boys. I see them when I close my eyes. I can see their bodies. I could just see everything that happened to them over and over as if I'm replaying like a broken tape, and it's just not going anywhere and I'm not dealing with it properly. Prior to that, like, I've had this, insane rage. Like every single day I wake up to think about the injustice in the world. It directly impacts me. There is no way not to think about it because I walk around and I feel it. And I mean, everybody does too. Everybody. It's pretty difficult to not feel the system of injustice. But it's pretty difficult to compare privilege and victimization in a world where everybody's pretty much, in some sense or another, privileged and victimized. Prior to watching this video, it was so easy to point at this Western perpetrator violence and a lot of times it is the West, but when you have a video like this where it's like the people of the community killing other members of the national community, yes, you can always draw it back to colonization because it can't ever be removed from history. History is something that just repeats itself over and over, and history defines context. Nothing exists in a vacuum. Here you have something that's happening now, millions of people around the world who are dying, millions of people dying of starvation and led to kill themselves because they're starving, happening right now. There's nothing that you can do to stop it. I mean, you can only point at the antagonist so long until you feel this sense of powerlessness and no longer driven to do anything, just sort of hide yourself in this bubble. It just reminds me of 2 years ago when I felt so powerless that I kind of wanted to just take my own life. And of course that didn't happen because I'm still here, but the sense of powerlessness and that nihilism and that cynicism about the world just all boiling back to me. I feel like a pot that's about to explode. I responded to Brittany's post by saying precisely this. Feminist frequency is just pissed off. Like a lot of us in society are angry. When you have that anger and you can nurture that anger, you have one particular enemy to direct it, you have direction. But when you factor in that the human experience is so much more complex than that, and that historically there are rarely any victims, there's just worse and there's just worser, living in this world becomes less desirable. You're consumed, like I am right now, with this sense of nihilism and hopelessness. In a sense, what I'm trying to say is that you kind of need the anger. When you're so preoccupied with the evils and the terrible aspect of humanity, and let me be clear, I truly believe that there is more bad in this world than there is fucking good. But when you're so preoccupied with the bad, when you're so fixated on the evils of this world, what happens when you take that away? I think that's why a lot of people almost rely on their anger. They feed their anger. They let it consume them. It could be a bad thing. It could also be the thing that keeps you going. The thing that keeps you feeling as if there is hope. I mean, let me get something straight. I don't think the world can be fixed. I don't think it can be fixed at all. But I do think that there is working for a better world. People who point to the particular antagonist do so because they truly believe that this antagonist is the evil one, and thus, if there is evil, there must be good. In a sense, they are idealistic. And just to clarify, I believe that there is a system of power in place. I think that it would be ignorant not to acknowledge that system of power. There is the highest of all privilege, and there is the lowest of all privilege, and then everywhere in between you can fluctuate. Most of us, and like a lot of people would like to say, the 99% of us fluctuate in that in-between spot where we're privileged and we're victims at the same time. I believe that the world is shitty. I like to compare it to a toilet bowl. You keep cleaning, it'll always get dirty, but you have to collectively clean it, and then you just have to keep cleaning it for it to ever be better. And I know that I'm being pessimistic. I realize that I'm being cynical. I think that you should take everything I say with a grain of salt. Mostly, I think that I just needed to get something out of my chest because I'm feeling very powerless and upset at the moment. Thanks for listening.